There, in the end zone, was a sight to keep eyes sober. Jalen Hurts tossed a medicine ball twice to a trainer. He pulled on his pads. He snapped his helmet on and tossed a few warm-up passes. Hours later, the Philadelphia Eagles officially listed Hurts as a full participant in Thursday's practice, the most promising sign yet that the franchise quarterback will play in Philadelphia's home wild card playoff game Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. Hurts missed the regular season's final 2 games in concussion protocol. He missed 2 weeks of practice. He returned Wednesday with limitations. With Thursday's development, expectations are increasing that the Eagles will begin the postseason with their full offensive starting lineup. Tight end Dallas Goedert, who returned from a knee injury in the regular season finale, has not been listed in any of this week's injury reports. 3-time Pro Bowler A.J. Brown, who completed his 3rd straight 1,000-yard season, sat out Thursday's practice with a knee issue. Brown is expected to play Sunday. The Eagles are limiting their leading receiver's workload to have him as close to 100% as possible against the Packers. This era of Eagles is familiar with untimely injuries. Hurts has managed some form of ailment in all 4 of his postseason runs. In 2021, he played through an ankle injury that required off-season surgery. In 2022, he battled shoulder pain after separating the joint during the regular season. Last year, Hurts popped out the middle finger of this throwing hand in the regular season finale against the New York Giants, which prevented him from throwing a football until days before a wild card loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a game Brown missed after injuring his knee against the Giants. That Brown has been managing a separate knee issue this season attracts concern. His injury first popped up on the team's official report, Decaur 20. Brown subsequently started against the Washington Commanders, caught 8 passes for 97 yards and a touchdown, started against the Dallas Cowboys in a Week 17, throttling Brown left early, then was one of 18 starters who sat out an inconsequential finale against the Giants. Brown did not make himself available to the media Wednesday or Thursday. The Eagles went 1-2 when Brown was sidelined earlier this season with a hamstring injury. He recorded a season-high 119 yards and a touchdown against the Packers in the Sao Paulo season opener. Hurts is in the 5th and final phase of the NFL's concussion protocol. He must be cleared by an independent medical professional. Eagles right tackle Lane Johnson was ruled out the morning of a Week 4 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he didn't participate in a contact practice. The Eagles have been practicing in pads inside Lincoln Financial Field this week. Any suggestion that the Eagles' offense is just as formidable without Hurts is either hopeful or presumptuous. Their offensive EPA per play drops significantly from when Hurts is on the field, RU.10, versus when he is not, 0.3, according to True Media. The difference between those numbers is the difference between the offensive EPA of the potent Minnesota Vikings, 0.01, and a Pittsburgh Steelers offense, 0.06, that's averaging 14.3 points in a 4-game losing streak. Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee indeed embody a reliable backstop. Pickett's sudden substitution for Hurts in their loss to the Commanders was overshadowed by dismal defensive and special teams play, plus an uncharacteristic drop by Devonta Smith that would have ended the game. Pickett and McKee went a combined 40 of 60, passing for 526 yards and 5 touchdowns in blowouts of their miserable NFC rivals, the Cowboys and Giants. But it should be mentioned that the Eagles exploited an injury-riddled Cowboys secondary fielding its 8th-string cornerback, and the Giants pulled starting cornerback Deonte Banks in the middle of a meaningless game. Neither Pickett nor McKee has proven himself to be a possible replacement for Hurts in the zone read concepts that help prevent defenses from zeroing in on Saquon Barkley. It's a core component of the NFL's second-ranked rushing attack, particularly in the red zone. When Hurts and Barkley premiered their partnership against the Packers, Barkley scored both of his rushing touchdowns on zone read runs and recorded 98 of his 109 yards within the concept. After a season where the Philadelphia Eagles won the NFC East and Saquon Barkley set franchise records, the Birds will face the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. The number 2 seed Eagles and the number 7 seed Packers will kick off Sunday at 4:30 p.m. at Lincoln Financial Field. Eagle, right now, get ready. Jalen Carter is going to explode onto the world stage because people don't really realize how great he is, Richie said. Across the country, they've heard a little bit. They've seen a game here and there when the Eagles play. Right now, we are the number 1 defense in the NFL in terms of yardage. We are a group that has one physical dominator up front. Really, the strength of our defense is the linebacking core, and the secondary and the guys up front are getting it done because of the merits of the linebackers and the safeties of the secondary being so tight. Jalen Carter is special, and he's going to open everyone's eyes because he's double and triple teamed and still making plays. He's about to explode into national conscience this weekend, next weekend, the weekend after that, because he is going to be making ridiculous plays that help our team in the postseason when it matters the most. In 16 games this season, Carter had 42 total tackles, including 12 for loss, 16 quarterback hits, and 4.5 sacks. He was recently named to the NFLPA's All-Pro team, which is voted on by his peers. For most of his 8-year career with the Eagles, Jake Elliott has been reliable. He's made big field goals in the regular season and playoffs, including when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in the 2017 season. But Elliott has struggled in the 2024 season. He's made 28 of 36 field goals this season, or 77.8%, which is the second worst mark of his career. Elliott had his lowest field goal percentage since 2020, when he made 73.7% of his field goals. Elliott has struggled mightily on field goal attempts from 50 yards or longer. He's 1 for 7 from 50 yards or more this season, one of the worst marks in the league among kickers in 2024. Richie said Elliott needs to be way better in the playoffs if the Eagles want to win the Super Bowl. When every point matters this much, I feel a little frightened by the proposition that we might have to put our faith on the kicker from 50+ when it matters most, Richie said. Is he ready to take that kick? Is Nick Sirianni going to have to adjust his decision-making because our kicker can't make it far? Richie didn't give an exact score prediction, but he believes the Birds will win easily over the Packers. I think the Eagles will crush Green Bay, he said. I think we are much more talented. Their play lately has taken a bit of a dip. There's something to be said for the way you enter the postseason. We are feeling pretty good about ourselves. We're fully rested. We are so talented, and they've struggled in recent weeks. I do think we are much better than Green Bay, especially now that they've lost Christian Watson. The Packers lost Watson, the team's top deep threat, to a torn ACL in Week 18 in a loss against the Chicago Bears. The team was already without top cornerback Jair Alexander. The status of Packers quarterback Jordan Love is also worth monitoring as Sunday approaches. Love exited Sunday's game against Chicago with a sore throwing elbow. He was a limited participant in Wednesday's practice, but upgraded to a full participant on Thursday. If Love can't play, backup quarterback Malik Willis would start for Green Bay. Willis made 2 starts this season, and the Packers won both games while Love was sidelined. Saquon Barkley and Zach Bone, 2 veterans who blossomed in their first year with the Eagles, were named to the 65th Annual Associated Press All-Pro First Team Friday. They are the first 2 players to make First Team All-Pro in their first season with the Eagles since Terrell Owens in 2004. Barkley led the NFL with 2,005 rushing yards, 8th most in NFL history. This is his first All-Pro honor. Barkley is only the 4th running back in franchise history named first-team All-Pro, following Steve Van Buren 5 times in the 1940s, Brian Westbrook in 2007, and LeSean McCoy in 2011 and 2013. Bown, in his first year as an off-ball linebacker or a full-time starter, came out of nowhere to anchor the NFL's #1 defense and finished the regular season with 312 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits, 5 forced fumbles, 4 pass deflections, and 151 tackles. Bown was a special teamer and situational edge rusher in 4 years with the Saints. Bown, who is unsigned beyond this season, is the first Eagles linebacker named first-team All-Pro since Jeremiah Trotter in 2000. Trotter's son, Jeremiah Jr., is now Bown's teammate. Other Eagles linebackers named first-team All-Pro are Chuck Bednarik 5 times from 1951 through 1960, Maxie Bowen in 1964, and Bill Berger in 1974 and 1975. Eagles named to the All-Pro second team are left tackle Jordan Mailata, right tackle Lane Johnson, wide receiver A.J. Brown, and defensive tackle Jalen Carter. This is Mailata's first appearance on any AP All-Pro team. In his 7th NFL season and 5th as a starter, the former rugby player becomes the Eagles' first player taken in the 7th round or later to earn All-Pro honors since 1993, when 9th-round pick Clyde Simmons earned his second straight first-team All-Pro honor. Johnson was a first-team All-Pro in 2017 and 2022, and a second-team selection in 2021 and 2023. 5 Eagles offensive linemen have now earned a total of 15 first- or second-team All-Pro honors and 26 Pro Bowls in Jeff Stoutland's 12 years as offensive line coach. Brown was named a second-team All-Pro despite missing 3 games early in the season with a hamstring injury. He still caught 67 passes for 1,079 yards and 7 touchdowns, and his 83 yards per game was 5th highest in the league. This is his 3rd straight year as a second-team All-Pro, and he's the first Eagles receiver to make 3 All-Pro teams since Mike Quick in 1983, 1985, and 1987. Carter, in his first year as a starter, had 412 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hits, and 6 pass deflections. Rookie Cooper DeJean finished 3rd in voting for slot corner with 6 of 50 votes, behind Marlon Humphrey of the Ravens, 26 votes, and Derwin James of the Chargers, 13 votes. A public signing event featuring 2 current Philadelphia Eagles has been postponed and rescheduled at the Deptford Mall. The Deptford Mall recently hosted a sports card and memorabilia show at the Macy's Center Court from January 3 to 5. There were 2 public signing events in partnership with Overtime Promotions scheduled for the card show. The first event was postponed by Overtime Promotions because of an emergency. It's been rescheduled for Jan. 14. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts has cleared the NFL's concussion protocol, head coach Nick Sirianni said on Friday afternoon. Hurts will play on Sunday as the Eagles host the Packers in the playoffs. Hurts, 26, suffered his concussion in Week 16 against the Commanders. He lasted just 12 snaps in that game, before being pulled and then missed the last 2 weeks of the regular season. This week, Hurts returned to practice as a limited participant on Wednesday and was a full participant on Thursday. He has been cleared by an independent neurologist, the final phase of the concussion protocol, and has been cleared to return. He's had a really good week of practice, Sirianni said. A really good week. Meanwhile, star receiver A.J. Brown, knee rest, was limited to start the week and was held out of practice on Thursday. But the Eagles expect Brown to play on Sunday in the wild card round. Brown has been dealing with this injury for a few weeks, and the Eagles are trying to manage him to make sure he's as close to 100% as possible by Sunday. You'll see the injury report, the practice report from today, Sirianni said, but giving him some rest at this stage in the season. It's been a long road, so giving him some rest yesterday to make sure that he's in the best shape he can be to play on Sunday. The Eagles will hold their final practice of the week at Lincoln Financial Field on Friday afternoon. They have practiced at the stadium all week because the fields at the NovaCare complex are frozen. Philadelphia has grown used to being the hunted, but with the team at 4-3 and among the NFC favorites, Nick Sirianni's group has assumed the role of hunters. In the hype video narrated by Eagles Hall of Fame running back LeSean McCoy, the Birds run with the motto, "Let's hunt," as they prepare to face the Packers on Wild Card Weekend in a rematch from Week 1. Philadelphia and Green Bay started 2-2. Following the bye, the Eagles won 12 of their final 13 games, while the Packers won 9 of their final 13 games. Green Bay overcame quarterback injuries and drastically improved on defense. Philadelphia rode the dynamic wave of Saquon Barkley and emerged as one of the best defenses in football. Earlier this week, Sirianni said that he wasn't worried about Hurts showing signs of rust after not playing for a few weeks. This is why you go through the process of practicing and all the things that you do at practice to get on the same page and do everything there, he said. We feel like we practice at a very high intensity level. This is why you go out there and do those things. Kenny Pickett replaced Hurts in the lineup against Washington but injured his ribs in the game. He started the following week against the Cowboys and was replaced by Tanner McKee after absorbing a couple hard hits early in the second half. McKee got the start against the Giants and tossed a pair of touchdowns in a winning effort.